Divine Will certainly sounded interesting, but I think the style of comedy really ruins the film. This was released in 2017. This is directed by Ken Jones and is written by Ken Jones and Suzanne Fitzpatrick, with a cast including Lee Roessler and Brent Reed as Will and Dave Blessing. And Dave and his nephew Will move to a new town, where Dave, a former rock star, gets the opportunity to shape up the church's choir. As a concept, absolutely love it. Will can also bring something of his own to the town, and this is a faith-based film which really appealed to me, but it doesn't work because of the comedy. The comedy is very over the top. It's very difficult to take the film seriously. And if it wasn't a faith-based film, that would be fine. There are many films that have a similar kind of ridiculous comedy style where everything's really exaggerated and the characters just seem ridiculous and it's impossible to take anybody seriously. And that does work for films in general, but not for a film like this where there is a lot of faith in this and those messages are obviously quite important, but because the comedy is basically saying don't take any of this seriously, it doesn't work very well. That's not to say it couldn't be a comedy, but the style of comedy does not work for the film. The messages are completely lost, or at the very least they're not taken seriously. So I think they 100% had the wrong style of approach with this film. The style of comedy does change a little bit, or I guess it becomes toned down a little bit as the film progresses, but by that point I'd already locked in the feeling that the film itself didn't take itself seriously. It didn't take itself seriously enough to present a moving narrative. That being said, the story does work well, the characters are interesting enough, the over-the-top performances are annoying, but it's not from every single character. Visually it's good with great lighting and good camera work and a nice colour palette. I think the film is trying too hard to be engaging with a very silly comedy style. And silly humour can work really well. Over-the-top exaggerated comedy can work, but not for this film, not for this story. If they'd taken a different approach, it could have been more moving and powerful and meaningful, while still having some humour. But unfortunately, it tells the audience immediately not to take it too seriously, and that means that any benefit there is completely lost. But I don't think it has any appeal either, because it's not like I can say, well, if you don't like faith-based films but you do like the comedy, it's still worth watching, because I don't believe that's the case. I do feel like, as is the case with most faith-based films, it is beneficial to have faith, or at least an open mind. They're not going to be for everybody, I'm completely aware of that, but I don't think this film will appeal to many people who aren't interested in a faith-based film, whether or not you have faith. So if you are interested in a faith-based film, I don't think it's going to work very well. And if the comedy sounds appealing but the faith-based aspect doesn't work for you, I don't think it will work either. So it doesn't work very well. It's not a good film. If they'd taken a different direction, then it probably would have worked.